Welcome to Beacon of Creation, a weekly podcast on game design through the lens of Magic the Gathering. I'm Tim.
I'm Cord.
I'm Pat.
We got double guests today because we're talking about like a really community-focused event that we had. In the Beacon of Creation Discord, we have You Make the Pack, where we sort of design one card at a time in a pack. Before we get into the details of it, though, I kind of wanted to get people's custom Magic background.
Yeah. My introduction to custom Magic was actually through Minecraft/Mario speedrunner Seth Bling.
Oh.
Ooh.
Who at the start of 2020 was making a Mario cube, a custom Mario cube. I saw that this was a thing you could do with MSE and whatnot, and I just dived into it. And then I joined Beacon of Creation recently, but I participated in things like Mocktober and whatnot before then, finding out about, I think it was the last You Make the Pack, which is what made me join this server.
Oh, cool.
I mostly have made a Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Universes Beyond style fully draftable set.
Okay.
It's 90% done. And then I've been recently working on a set based around enchantments and flavorfully vocal music, vocal performance.
Okay.
And that's just finished. It's like second draft of Uncommons.
Wow. So you're deep. You got a lot of cards under your belt.
I've got a lot of stuff just tucked away.
Yeah, I love it. One of the things that's always crazy when I bring people on this podcast is like, I've talked to them a couple times on Discord, but yeah, let's get them on. And then I find out, oh yeah, they've designed 1,000 cards already. Okay, cool. They're experts. All right, Pat, how about you? How'd you get started?
I feel this is a pretty common story. I played Magic for a while, and then I was on a break for a while, and then I came back. So I actually did some custom card designs back in that like high school days of first playing Magic, because my friend Maddie, she showed me MSE, and then we actually made an XCOM set and like printed it out and played with it, and it was awful. We had a whole mechanic called RNG where you had to roll dice to see if your creature would actually do damage, and it turned out that wasn't fun.
Oh, okay.
During my break from Magic, while I was, trying to convince myself I'd quit, I actually did every once in a while go back into MSE and just make more cards. Like, I wasn't even playing the game at that point. So there's something about the game design aspect of this hobby that like keeps pulling me back in. Now that I got back into Magic, this was also around the time that I started working as a lifeguard at this pool, which is indoor pool and very empty, so haven't had to save anybody yet after a couple of years of working, so very boring, but the upside of that is that I get to listen to podcasts. So I got into a lot of Magic podcasts, and then eventually I found Beacon of Creation. I was like, whoa, there's podcasts about custom cards, that's pretty cool. Then I joined in and started doing the design challenges and You Make the Packs, and I actually missed the first You Make the Pack because I didn't know what it was at that point. It can be tough to because there's so many things going on in the Discord at all times. You really gotta like look at what they all are. And then the second You Make the Pack, I joined in, and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, that you kind of want to jump in as one of them start. You want to be kind of ground floor on one of them. But we've actually just finished one up. And maybe this is like a homework, or this is prep for the next one. People who are listening who haven't yet jumped on the Discord, or who are on the Discord but maybe just kind of browsing and reading. The call goes out. Give us any card you want. Everyone submits a card. There's some voting on it, and whichever one wins gets in. Now, we also actually did a twist on this new You Make the Pack 4. People were hungry for a little bit of chaos. Once one card gets in, then that tends to lead to like 14 more cards that like really follow it closely. So we actually did something different for this pack, where the winner of the first slot didn't get revealed until we also knew the winner of the second slot. And the hope here was that we were going to combine two completely different cards, or like really different cards, and then have to kind of pick up the pieces afterward.
Especially with things that have happened recently in Magic, the wildness of having two quite different cards try and inspire a pack gave a lot of room for interesting design.
Mm-hmm. I think I was one of the people who was like most campaigning for this actually, but
chaos.
But then I actually forgot about it after the first slot, and I was just like, wait, why is the first winner not revealed? And then, oh, wait a second.
Awesome.
But I think it worked out pretty well. The first one, made by yours truly, was the Weird Epiphany, which I was a little bit unsure about when I was making it because I put the flavor text from Melik, who is a Ravnican character.
Mm-hmm.
See the legendary creature cards.
Yeah. Melik sort of is it elemental scientist.
Yeah. I feel like in You Make the Pack, at least in previous ones, there's been a kind of a aversion to using existing characters because we wanted to kind of branch out in our own space and that sort of thing. And also because when you are looking at an existing world, you do have a sort of an obligation to stick to the themes and things that were in it originally. So people have got all sorts of different things that they wanted to put in the pack. And it's like, well, if we commit to this world, then we might not be able to get this in, that sort of thing. I think that is also a reason why in the second slot, there weren't like a bunch of other Ravnica cards or anything. It was people were, wanting to try different things.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my, I don't want to say secret plan because it wasn't fully on purpose, but I like how it worked out that we had to sort of square the circle of where is Melik and how is this giant here? Because the second card.
Well, let's read the first card so people know what we're talking about.
Oh, yeah. So the first card is Weird Epiphany, which is a 6 mana, 4 of any color, and blue for an instant with Emerge for 7 and a blue. And Emerge is an ability that was previously only on creature cards. That is, you may cast a spell by sacrificing a creature and paying the Emerge cost reduced by that creature's mana value. And the effect of the card is just draw 3 cards.
All right, so we got 6 mana, draw 3 at instant speed, or 8 mana, draw 3 at instant speed, but you can make that cheaper by sacrificing something. Yep. You sack a 3 drop, you say you get that 8 down to 5. You sack a 7 drop, you get that 8 down to 1.
And the fact that it's an instant is very useful because you get that kind of, what's it called? Altar's Reap?
Oh, yeah. They go to kill your creature, and then you pop it in response.
Yeah, you just respond with that, so...
Cord, what were you thinking about Weird Epiphany when you saw that was our first card?
When I saw the card, I was like, all right, we are stuck on Ravnica. I was just looking back at what people put in for slot 1 and 2. After slot 1, only one card mentioned a canon magic thing.
Oh.
And it was my card, and in slot 1, 3 cards did. So I think that was all. That's
oh yeah,
also something very interesting.
Huh. So people were ready to do either. They were ready to do something new. They were also ready maybe to dip into some existing flavor.
Yeah.
And then we got another returning mechanic for the second winner. Port, maybe you want to read that one?
Yeah. Cloudwalk Pilgrim. 3 white for a 4/3 giant cleric with Hideaway 3. When this creature enters the battlefield, look at the top 3 cards of your library, exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom in a random order. When Cloudwalk Pilgrim becomes the target of a spell, put a card hidden away by it into its owner's hand.
So 5 mana 4/3, so a little small. You hide away 3, grab one of the top 3 cards, and then it sort of has ward. Give me a spell. Once this thing becomes the target of a spell, you get that hideaway card, and that's your only way of getting that hideaway card under normal circumstances.
Of note, you can also target it with one of your own spells, say an aura or a combat trick,
or maybe an emerge spell.
If this emerge spell targets, because That's sacrificing the creature does not target it.
Oh, emerge's
Yeah.
cost does not target. Oh yeah, because it's
Yeah.
a cost. They wouldn't really want targeting a cost. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So weird epiphany, not automatically popping the Pilgrim's Claws there.
No,
All right.
although it's a high mana value, that's something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does cost a lot. Okay, so once my opponent goes to remove it with a removal spell, they're like, okay, fine, I'll give you the card. They go to target the Pilgrim, you say, what? I'll take that card, and also 3 more cards.
Yeah.
That is kind of a dream. Is this like a Lorwyn reference on its own, or it just feels kind of Lorwyn-y and it's like giant with a pastoral background?
It's a white giant with a class type, and Lorwyn cared about class types.
I think Lorwyn was also
giant.
where Hideaway showed up, right? The
And
first
Lorwyn,
time.
was the first Hideaway set.
The main thing that this card established was we are definitely not on Ravnica, at least not exclusively on Ravnica, because you don't see any buildings in that art, And Ravnica doesn't have a whole lot of space for the outdoors.
Another kind of early card in the pack that was maybe trying to bridge these two pieces was a card, Moonglove Leafling. 3 and a green for a 1/1 creature, Treefolk Warlock. That's a Lorwyn creature type. It has Death Touch, so 4 mana, 1/1 Death Touch. When it enters, create a 2/2 colorless weird token with Changeling. So yeah, maybe this is trying to bridge back into Melik Zone, because we got colorless weirds with Changeling rather than like I don't know. I sort of think of just like goofball weirds that were in original Lorwyn.
Yeah. Also, it's got more Melik flavor text on it. Each morning, I find new life disproving yesterday's hypothesis. This is Melik exploring. He's finding new places. And I think this was around the time people were talking about Ikoria in the pack. Which never panned out.
I forgot about that.
But there was a lot of chatter with Ikoria themes, with the weird changelings and possibility of emerge and mutate.
Oh, okay. So a direction that people started to go, but maybe it didn't quite make it through the polls.
Yeah, never panned out.
One of the kind of cool things about You Make the Pack is that there's the 15 cards we end up with, but there's also like another, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 cards that are part of the submission process. There are resubmits, there are other things involved. It's kind of interesting to think like, hey, if you went back in time to halfway through this pack and just changed one winner, you might actually change the whole back half of the pack.
You get the sort of behind the scenes look of all these different directions that it could have gone. For some reason, the other day I was thinking about how the original Ravnica block had like an auras theme that wasn't really supported, and that was something that early in the design it was supposed to be like more of a focus, but then they shifted away from it, and there's just a couple of cards remaining from it. There's probably like way more instances of that in just every set where it's none of the cards even survived and we just don't know about it. So this is, since we're making this set, we get to see all these sort of implications.
I remember they were talking in I think it was Kaldheim, where they had like a keyword mechanic where you'd sort of choose a tribe or choose a clan or something like that. And you could change it as you played different cards, and they kept that for a while, and they're like, we got to cut this.
Yeah.
But there are like 5 cards that still have just the spelled out version of that mechanic in the set.
Bit of a tangent, but that mechanic actually reminds me a lot of the what was it called? Incarnate. That was a mechanic that was messed with in this, and started out as you would choose a creature type and you would become that creature type. And then that would give benefits to some of your things. And then it turned into something where it was like you get a token that has your name, and I don't remember all the details of how that went, but that was a very cool mechanic, watching it like evolve over time. Even though it didn't quite get into the pack, there were some pretty interesting designs going on with that.
I think it eventually shook out in Marrow Initiate, which is one of the cards that came in later.
Mm.
You want to read that one?
Yeah. It's hybrid Dimir, so that's blue-black, and it's two of those. So it's blue or black, blue or black. Creature Merfolk, it's a 2/1. When it enters, choose Rogue or Wizard. Merfolk Initiate has the chosen types and gains those abilities. Rogue, it can't be block. And Wizard, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, draw a card, then discard a card.
A little bit of flexibility on the type.
Yeah.
You don't get to choose anything, you get to choose one of two things. And maybe your deck cares about Wizards, so you're just choosing Wizard every time across everything. Or maybe, you're not quite as tied and it's a little more contextual. Oh, I think I'll be able to hit. I'll pick Wizard because I'll start looting. Oh, I don't think I'll be able to swing. Let me pick Rogue to make sure I get my damage in.
Also, the very important part about this card that doesn't come across very well over an audio medium is that there are little symbols for the different creature types that show which I don't really know how to explain this over.
Yeah, instead of the word rogue, we have like a little dagger.
Yeah.
And instead of the word wizard, we got a little wizard hat.
Yep.
I think that's pretty resonant, especially for the wizard player. They get to show up to the pre-release with their wizard hat on.
I believe this is also the first card we have in the set with hybrid with hybrid mana, which is yet again another Lorwyn mechanic.
And hybrid is a Lorwyn mechanic and also a Ravnica mechanic, so ties into both of those directions.
Very smart. I like that. I'm pleased.
I did not even realize that.
Oh, while we're talking about the symbols, I might as well talk about my punch card real quick here.
Oh, yeah.
Not necessarily a card in the pack, but it is an addition to the pack. I just sort of assigned the different types to different colors, and then also added in Coward because I had an extra space.
Yeah, so this is like a punch-out card with like a little 3x3.
Yeah.
Cleric, wizard, rogue, warrior, archer, coward, as little punch-out things. Maybe the size of a dime if they were real cards. And then you've got 2 +1/+1 counters you can punch out. You copy and pasted the directions on how to punch out, which I thought was a funny touch. And then you've got another one more punch out on this card.
Yep. That is Dark Side. Probably the best way to talk about this would be to go over to Vestige of Summer, which is a 1 mana for a 1/2 elemental fox with first strike, haste, and Dark Side 3 and a red. Begin reminder text. For 3 and a red, switch this creature's power and toughness until end of turn. Sacrifice it at end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery and only once each turn. And then one more ability. When it turns to the dark side, discard your hand, then draw 2 cards.
So this dark side is sort of like a cash this creature in. The board is too clogged. My little haste fox can't really do anything anymore. I'm going to hit the dark side button. I'm not only going to get a better offensive threat for a turn, I'm also going to, in this case, discard my hand, draw 2 cards. So hopefully, mostly go up cards there.
And if you're in the late game, it's sacrificing at the end of turn anyway. Sacrifice it to emerge as well.
Very smart. Yeah.
Lots.
I didn't even think of that.
I realized it while looking at the pack in preparation for this. I wonder if the creator of the pack, or the card that had Dark Side, was thinking that way too. Because it was in the slot 5 and 6 submissions when Dark Side started showing up.
I think with lore, when people people want to see some of the dark side of Lorwyn, the Shadowmoor side a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe dark side is sort of a way to get a glimpse of it in one set. You put like a dozen dark side cards, a couple other cards that reference it, and that gives you your taste of Shadowmoor.
Yeah, the thing about Lorwyn is like its current state, I think, is ambiguous because originally Lorwyn had the whole thing with the Aurora, which was a sort of a big cosmic event that changed Lorwyn into Shadowmoor, and it happened at a set amount of time, but then there was the antagonist manipulated it to happen at a certain time. But from what I recall, something happened at the end of the Lorwyn story that basically like changed that balance. And so when we go back to Lorwyn, we're not entirely sure how the Lorwyn Shadowmoor thing would work. My sort of like theory for real Magic is I'm thinking that it would be like basically every night it turns into Shadowmoor, and then every day it turns into Lorwyn, because that would allow them to be like, yeah, we're going to put them all in the one set since they don't really do blocks anymore. But that's just sort of my like tinfoil hat situation. Don't have any actual proof for that.
Yeah, we do have some information about it, because we did see some visits to Lorwyn in March of the Machines.
March of the Machine, yeah.
And it was mostly in the story, but it seems at least during March of the Machines, Lorwyn was mostly Lorwyn, but so there's some amount of flip flop or bleed between the two.
That's what you like when you're imagining your own set. You're imagining the future Lorwyn. You want there to be like a little flexibility. We could pull in some new mechanics. We could do some new things. What if instead Shadowmoor is just like a thing that's a capability in most of the creatures that like pops out this dark side style? Like the plane itself doesn't shift anymore, but the people within it do.
Yeah.
That sounds cool.
Yeah,
so I think a lot of the other cards here are like pretty Lorwyn-y. There's like a cool tree folk. There's a merfolk wizard. There's, a weird elemental, a giant warrior, some other stuff like that. So the action is happening on Lorwyn, but maybe there are, Jace shows up apparently. There's some other visitors as well.
I would love to highlight our other hybrid card. And another card with a new mechanic, Precursor of Hatred. 2 hybrid Rakdos, that's black and red, for a 2/2 enchantment creature goblin rogue. It has Menace and Lineage, 2 hybrid Rakdos. You may cast this card from your graveyard for its Lineage cost. If you do, it's an aura with Enchant Goblin or Rogue. It enters with a finality counter. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and has Menace.
Like a bestow from the graveyard, or like a flashback. But yeah, limited by creature type.
Now this one I did notice that it works well with Emerge when it was getting into the bag.
If you give up on the original creature, you're not really getting through. You cast your Emerge spell, get a discount. You got the Lineage card in your graveyard now. You pile that onto one of your other creatures. Now you got a big creature with Menace that you can attack with.
Yeah.
Oh, you could even, if it was on a big Emerge creature, you're even just saying, well, if I could cast this creature normally, I can both cast this creature and basically turn this goblin into an enchantment.
Oh, like right in a row. Huh.
Right in a row.
That makes me want to see a 1-mana one that gives haste.
There you go. What else we doing with this? We got a little graveyard theme, which we don't really see elsewhere, but you got to have a little bit of for the graveyard fans.
A little bit of graveyard. We've got the enchantment creatures, which are not a Lorwyn thing.
No.
In the past,
Lorwyn had what was it called?
Champion.
The incarnations.
Champion.
The incarnation. Okay.
And champion.
Yeah.
But no, I was thinking more like Flavorfleet enchantment creature does feel pretty similar to a lot of stuff we've gotten on Lorwyn. Like I can see it.
Yeah.
We'll have the whole pack up there. You can browse through. It is kind of play boostery style. We got a pair of rares here. We got an extra token. All that kind of stuff. But I also wanted to have a little bit of time to just talk through some of the other things that could have happened in the set. We got a little bit of taste of that, the incarnation and stuff like that, but I don't know if the two of you brought a couple cards that you remember as part of this process that are favorites of yours.
I have a bit of a list. Cloying Apparition, I Am Destiny. I've already talked about the incarnation mechanic a little bit earlier. Coalesced Bolt, was just another Emerge card.
Oh.
Bottled Aurora, Trinket Collector are in that same kind of vein. Particularly Trinket Collector, actually, because it both...
Yeah, why don't you read that one then?
Yeah, Trinket Collector is 2 mana for a 1/1 artifact creature Scarecrow. When Trinket Collector dies, draw a card, and pay 1 mana and tap it to add 1 mana of any color. So it just does the classic Scarecrow Lorwyn thing of filtering your mana, and it also is a little guy that you'll want to sacrifice to stuff.
Mm-hmm. I somehow want it to be more expensive so I can emerge out of it even better.
Yeah. And then Mindweft Expulsion. I wrote this down wrong. I wrote it down as Incursion because that was the name of the battle type, because this is a battle with a new battle type, which was another thing that was just, really like big swing creative. Like, I like that. So this is 2 and a black for a Kindred Battle, Kithkin Incursion. It says, you protect your incursions, others can attack it. Until it's defeated, you may cast cards hidden away by it. When Mindweft Expulsion enters, the top card of target opponent's library becomes hidden away. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if Mindweft Expulsion didn't lose defense this turn, you may pay 2 life. If you do, the top card of your library becomes hidden away. So you get to draw cards from your opponent's library and your library, which I am a big fan of both of those types of drawing cards.
We're mixing our Gonti with our Impulse red draw.
Yeah.
Okay. It gives you 1 off your opponent's library to start, and then from there on out, it's going off of your library. Is that how it works?
Yep.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, a little pressure, kind of like a Planeswalker. It's accruing value if no one stops it.
Yeah, and it has 2 starting defense.
I forgot to mention that.
which is important to note, because that is very easy to hit in relative to most battles.
Yep.
You really got to pick your spot with that one. You got to look around and say, am I stable, before you fire that off.
That was one of my designs late in the pack. I think that was my last actual card designed for the pack.
You want to talk about a couple? Any come to mind?
Yeah, I have a couple, mostly from early on.
Okay.
So I have Vanifar's Notes by Red Bay. Green Blue. It's a conspiracy sorcery research.
I forgot about that one.
Yeah. You start with it in your command zone, and you may cast it when it has no study counters. It starts with 4 of them. Whenever you cast a creature spell, remove a study counter from Vanifar's Notes. Create an XX Ooze creature token, where X is the total number of creature types among non-Ooze creatures you control and non-Ooze creatures in your graveyard. After you've cast 4 creatures, you can cast it, and you get a big Ooze if you've been casting lots of different things, which is cool. But the thing that drew me to it was both the new new conspiracy type or sorcery type. I'm one of the two, and the Ravnica flavor that pulled us back to Ravnica, because this was in the slot 3 and 4 section of the pack.
That's kind of like an alternative to maybe a companion rather than my deck construction mattering. I've got this thing sitting off to the side, a little quest that I'm allowed to do.
Exactly. And the other one that I thought was really cool to have, this was slot 1, Nurtured by Setessa. Green, legendary enchantment background. Commander creatures you own have trample, and this creature gets +X/+X, where X is your devotion to green. This card by Caillou.
Backgrounds. Yeah.
Just the boldness of starting a 15 card or 15 slot you make the pack with a commander card. Like, this is explicitly a commander card with a commander mechanic. I thought, what kind of set would you have a 15 card commander draft with? Would you draft 4 packs? Would you all sorts of questions here.
I like it. Backgrounds.
backgrounds, so it does a lot in one card that's relatively simple to define what this pack is.
Yeah, you got this like 2-mana thing that buffs your commander as it leaves, and it's not an aura. It can stick around if your commander dies. Yeah. And normally with the background, you want a different color. You might have like a red background and a black creature. So you get 2 colors for your commander deck. But maybe you try to go full devotion and you just have like the green background that cares about devotion and the green commander. And so you're really trying to like have all green permanents and run the table.
Imagine having a 1-mana green commander with this.
I've kind of a similar thing going on in our I'm in like a chaos commander league right now. And we got the usual rule, the new kind of usual rule of monocolor things are, basically can partner.
Our partner.
Yeah. So I got a 2-mana just white legendary. It doesn't even matter what it is. And then a 3-mana background that lets you turn your commander into any creature on the battlefield.
Ooh.
I love that one.
I think we got a lot of room left for backgrounds and what we can do with backgrounds.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So can you guys remember any cards that you were working on in your thought process at that time? Does that make sense? Like, hey, we're a couple cards in. How did you come up with this card? What was the starting point for one of the cards that you submitted?
Yeah, I have one. So this was, I think, around slot 7 or 8. So like about halfway through the pack. It is Begin the Campaign. 1 green-blue for a Kindred Enchantment Shapeshifter with Changeling.
Okay.
Hideaway X, where X is the number of creatures in your party. Your party is Cleric, Rogue, Warrior, Wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have a full party, you may cast the card Hidden Away with Begin the Campaign by returning Begin the Campaign to your hand in addition to its other costs.
Yeah, take us through the thought process here.
So early on, we got Cloudwalk Pilgrim and Marrow Initiate and a couple other cards with class types. And they were all class types that came from Zendikar's party mechanic. And so I was trying to design a party card to go with it. With shapeshifters and Kindred already kicking around. Wait. Never mind. Kindred never actually is put into this pack.
Oh.
I'm just realizing that. Huh.
There were a lot of Kindred cards submitted. That's weird.
Yeah. Anywho. With all the class types kicking around in this pack, I was thinking we need some uncommons. Let's design a class type party themed uncommon archetype card.
Yeah.
And so I was digging around and I found the campaign cards from Outlaws of Thunder Junction and the Third Visit to Ravnica.
Yeah. It's like disinformation campaign, intimidation campaign.
Intimidation campaign.
Yeah, campaign on the brain. Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, what's a funny thing I can do with party and campaign? Well, let's begin the campaign. Let's combine those two ideas.
Like a Dungeons and Dragons. Like, hey, everybody,
like
make your level 1 character. Yeah. Okay.
So you get something that fills your party because it's a changeling. And it cares about how many you already have, but it still wants you to get that full party.
Very cool. Yeah. And you started with an enchantment here. That was your... Yeah, because you're going for the campaign cards. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pat, do you remember how you put together any of these?
Yeah, I think let's go with the Brian's Lieutenant. The first You Make the Pack that I participated in, we did not have a signpost uncommon. That was a tragic event for us all.
Oh, no.
We just sort of submitted uncommons. Like a lot of people kept submitting uncommons, and then the first 3 slots in the pack were all uncommons, and we were like, wait, all the uncommons are gone and we have no signpost. So I was here to right this wrong. More specifically to the card, there were a lot of people messing around with different ways to make Hideaway matter, which was very interesting.
Oh, okay, yeah. We've seen like Hideaway is basically just a fully self-contained thing. That's
Yeah.
just on like 10 cards now, where it's just like hide away some cards when it enters, and then at some point you get that card back. And that's all what all the Hideaway cards were. But maybe can we explore that? Can we care about Hideaway? Can we look at the things that are in Hideaway? Can we add more things to the Hideaway? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So this one is Brian's Lieutenant, 1 red and white for a creature giant warrior. It's a 3/3 Hideaway 1. When it enters, exile the top card of your library face down. Oh, and look at it. That's important because giant spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each face down card you own in exile. And when Brian's Lieutenant dies, you may discard a card. If you do, return a card hidden away by it to its owner's hand.
Okay, so it's going to just grab the top card, Hideaway 1, whatever that is, put it down there, look at it. But you're even saying, hey, maybe don't bother looking at it for now. Because the point of this card is that my giant spells are cheaper if I have things hidden away. So I can go from this 3-drop with that discount. On turn 4, I can cast a 5-drop. If that has Hideaway too, then maybe on turn 5, I can cast a 7-drop giant, like a real giant.
Yeah. And the dies thing, discard a card might not be necessary. I don't know, but I was sort of thinking for Color Pie, have it more of a rummaging than just a straight draw card. And also makes it a little bit more interesting because you have to think about whether you actually want that card more than you want whatever card's in your hand.
Yeah, when it dies, you can discard a card. If you do, you actually get the Hideaway card. And that's your only way to get that card.
Yeah.
So you can kind of plan ahead. Oh, I saw a card that I'll need a long time from now. Or I see a land. Oh, I really want that land. Let me make an attack and try to get a trade. And then I can get that land and try to play it.
Or sacrifice it to emerge, maybe.
Yeah.
Or emerge it. Let's get in the mindset of this card. Did you just start 3-mana 3/3? Had it? Well.
Oh yeah. So I basically
your drafts.
I basically start where I started was with Boros giant archetype uncommon something. I pretty quickly landed on I want it to reduce the cost because if you have like you can't make a limited deck that has only 5 mana creatures and be like, okay, this is gonna work. But also, if you have a giant that's like a 2-drop, that's not going to really feel like a giant. It seems like you probably want to have some kind of a way to ramp or cost reduce or something in order to be able to play the big creatures that are giants. Then there was also the Hideaway going around that I wanted to tie the Hideaway into the giants because at this point, the giant, this I think was the only Hideaway card in the pack was the giant, but I think so.
We had Drowsy Dower Bark, which was a tree folk, and that's the only other one.
You thought maybe you could make this like iconic for the giants. The giants are known for hiding things away in this world.
Yeah.
And so you put it on a gold card, and now it's like, hey, not only you suspected that maybe these giants might care about Hideaway, but we're telling you explicitly.
Exactly.
Hey, what else could we do with a giant Hideaway? If we're making like big cards or other stuff in red or white, what other things can we do with Hideaway?
My thought goes to like revealing a hidden away card to do something. Like maybe reveal a hidden away card to like bolt a creature equal to the hidden away card's mana value.
Like a half-hidden combat trick.
Yeah.
I know there's a card on the table. I know there's a creature that's able to flip cards, but I don't know if it's actually good enough to kill my guy.
Yeah. And in the giant deck, big things.
That kind of makes me want it to be like Eldrazi processors. Like you give up the whatever the Hideaway card was originally from in order to get some effect that maybe is more exciting. Or maybe you have a Hideaway card that you can no longer get the hidden away card, so you're able to use it up for something else.
It'd be weird how to get it to actually work, but an instant that's like 2 in a red instant. Reveal a hit as an additional cost to cast this. Reveal a card you have hidden away,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or put it into your graveyard, and it either deals a flat amount of damage, or damage equal to the revealed card's mana value.
Oh yeah, we've seen that like you reveal a card from your hand. I think there's like maybe even an Eldrazi card where you reveal a thing and then it gets -X/-X or something. Yeah.
There's a dragon one that does that from AFR. You reveal a dragon from your hand.
Oh yeah, like a dragon breath kind of card. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other things you wanted to you think could have gotten in this pack? Any pieces that were missing? Any concepts or the next steps if there were more than one pack for this set? Where would we go? What needs to get filled in?
There's no elves.
Mm.
We're on Lorwyn. What happened to the elves?
I can do without the elf.
All right, we need the perfects. We need the what are the other ones? Eye blights.
The perfects and the eye blight.
Yeah.
Which are the only two things we know still exist in Lorwyn.
That's true.
Oh, were they in the March of the Machine stuff?
They were in the March of the Machine story.
Oh,
and the only thing we know about Lorwyn right now is that the perfects and the eye blights worked together to kill the Phyrexians.
Okay. The Phyrexians were so much uglier than the eye blights that they had to team up.
Exactly. That is exactly
okay.
what the story was.
Canon. Let's do it.
Something unique about You Make the Pack is the idea that the only canon is what's in the pack. So if hypothetically we were to submit 15 commons and that was all that got submitted, all that won the votes, then that would be the pack, and we'd have to come up with some explanation for why that was the way that it is. But people generally want to make the pack feel like a real pack. So you have this kind of tension of between like, oh, I want to make this thing, and like, oh, the pack needs this thing, and trying to juggle that is especially difficult now that there's all sorts of different numbers of things and weird slots that can show up in packs and things like that.
Yeah. I'm just saying, a full common pack would, I guess, be Pauper Horizons.
Pauper Horizons. There we go. We got to have cards that work with something that has existed in competitive Pauper. We're trying to flesh out not the tier 1 Pauper decks. We're trying to flesh out the tier 2 and 3 Pauper decks somehow.
I love my beloved Slivers and Heroic.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna make Walls combo tier 0.
Oh no.
Pauper Slivers.
Pauper Slivers gives me one of my favorite weird old mechanics that stacks with itself. Provoke.
Oh yeah.
Provoke.
This was a discussion in Discord the other day.
Yeah.
Provoke, you can pick something that has to block it, so you sort of choose how blockers happen if you have multiple Provoke Slivers.
For each sliver, so you can have like 4 creatures block 1 sliver and the rest get in for free.
Wait, are the First Strike and Death Touch Slivers also common?
They are also in common.
Oh my god.
They are in the deck.
Oh, there's 43 common Slivers. Darn. I wouldn't have thought that.
You have to have them around for draft.
Oh, there's a bunch of Commander Masters had common to 1 or 2 of them, looks like. Oh, yeah, these are cool. Modern Horizons, yeah. Basil Sliver. Okay, they're pandering to old people like me with that card. I like this Pauper Horizons. Actually, while we're talking about this, what would you do for the gimmick for the next You Make the Pack? Do you want a different pack size? Do you want a different like chaos gimmick? What are some of our ideas there?
I would love a dedicated slot for non-card submissions.
To just concentrate it. Here's the one time we're going to do that.
Here's the token. Here's the booster pack. Here's the set symbol.
Yeah.
All those weird things.
Yeah, that is sometimes like when I'm voting in these. It's like Well, I could vote for a cool card, or I could vote for a set symbol. I don't know. The cool card kind of went out for me usually, even if the symbol was cool. Should we do a bigger pack, smaller pack? 15's perfect.
I wonder if people would be interested in doing a 20 card commander pack, because there was the background. There was a couple of things that people were workshopping early on.
I think there's room for it. Maybe at a faster rate, just so the pack doesn't last forever.
That'll be our next turbo round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you could probably do like 2 or 3 cards for each of those, so you'd only have like 2 more cycles. Yeah. How do you feel about the timing overall? Do you like the 4 days to design, 2 days to vote? Is that the right speed in your eyes?
I think so.
Yeah, I think I don't know. I mean, I feel like I feel like I'm a little bit more insane about it than most people, so I'm probably more. There's part of me that's like, just get it done in 1 day. Come on. But
okay.
As far as like realistically giving people enough time to fully think about it and participate and all that sort of stuff, I think we're about right.
All right.
Yeah. I agree with that. Like, despite the fact that I'm almost always like, I design the card the day the thread opens, and I'm like, it's in there. It's
tapping your
designed.
foot. Come on.
I'm like,
see, my problem is a lot of the times
you got life. You got to deal with life too.
Yeah.
My problem is a lot of the times I design basically the card on the first day, and then I just spend the rest of the time sort of going back and forth about it and like making tiny little changes and agonizing over it, and like I should have just put it in the thread at the beginning.
There was one where I had a bunch of free time around it, and I designed like 4 cards and a like booster pack.
Yeah.
I know something I did in this one was I made sure to save all the cards I made. And had I made the pack.
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny.
Yeah. Which I didn't design enough cards. I resubmitted a bunch, so it's only a 10 card pack.
Oh.
Despite the booster pack saying 14.
Oh. Yeah, you're ripping off the consumer there.
Yeah.
You're making a slightly improved version of Aftermath.
Well, I get there are no commons in the pack I made, so maybe it's like a
Assassin's Creed pack, yeah.
It's like a Assassin's Creed collector booster or something.
All right. That's about it for the main topic for this week. But before we get out of here, as always, I want to highlight our current design challenge. Halfway there. Design a commander that has partner with and give it an existing ability word from Magic. So 2 quick things with that. Partner with, that's where you name a second card. Like Will and Rowan name each other on their cards with partner with. And then an ability word, those are the ones that are like in italics, like a threshold or a battalion, or, the things where the effect is different each time, but they have sort of a common mechanic to them. The bonus points here for me, Flavor Blasted. Give us a quick flavor synopsis of the partners along with your submission. So you're not submitting both cards, you're only submitting 1 card, but you can tell us the flavor of the 2 of them together. And then Red Bay's bonus, whoa, living on a prayer. Give us some type of holy flavor. Angel, cleric, life gain, resurrection, all the usual sort of like holy prayer, that kind of stuff. When you 2 heard this challenge, what were you thinking? Where are your minds going?
I think you almost have to lean into the ability word a little bit. Because if you come up with a really fun partner commander and then forget the ability word, I feel like it's going to be pretty hard to try and squeeze that in there. You have to at least consider it.
So that is what I did accidentally. Shout out to the Design League, which is another contest that we have going on right now. So for that, there was a challenge of making a new artifact type, and I made a token type of orb. Then I was thinking, well,
I feel like I can get a little bit more mileage out of this idea. So I was just made a partner commander that made an orb and did something with the orb, but then I realized, oh, I've completely forgotten that it needs to have an ability word.
Oh.
And then I've also forgotten about both of the bonus points. And then I ended up coming up with a more interesting flavor idea, which is sort of a planar chaos version of the Wanderer. So I'm going with that, but I've kind of given up on the second bonus point.
Fair enough. The Ponderer, yeah. I saw that
Yep.
Photoshop go by. I'll hold off reading it until the challenge review, but I'm excited.
I always feel like I have to apologize to the artist when I do these things.
I love it. Whenever you look at a list of like 50 things, to me, that's like, hell yeah, that's a great design challenge. It's like not 1,000 things, not 4 things, somewhere in the middle.
I think looking at that list of ability words has given me my idea. So
Okay, all right, the spark. All right, well,
yes, the spark. Very important word.
Alrighty, well, I'll look forward to that. Let's do it at the end of June. And that's it for the podcast for the week. Hop on the Discord. That's where all the action is. All the challenges, everything else. Just people talking all the time. As new cards come in, people are always talking through. We were talking through all the Assassin's Creed cards the last couple days. So all that's super fun. Thanks both of you for coming on. Cord, for your first time. Hope you had a good time.
Yeah.
And Pat, thanks for squadding up and deploying for your second tour of duty.
Thank you for having me. It was great to be here.
If you want to find any of us, the Discord is the place to do it. It's all the same names that you just heard in this podcast, but on the computer. Find us there, and thank you for listening.
You're welcome.
Love it.